Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Mosaic of Happiness Insights from Diverse Minds. And this is a program that we are so excited to be working on. And it's really interesting how we can be inspired by those diverse professionals sharing their experience, their knowledge, their life experience, and how explaining how we can be happier and also help promote happiness for others. So I am Patricia Fraga. I am the executive director at Abayomi Academy, and I am in Florida, United States. And I would like to start inviting and also saying thank you for our guest to be here today. And I will start with Juliana Costa. Welcome.
Hello, I am Juliana Costa. I am in Brazil now, and I am a conscientiologist and educator. As an expert on consciousness, I seek to help human beings to awaken, develop, and build their consciousness in order to cease suffering. It may even seem like something miraculous, but it is very far from it, because the way to eradicate suffering is within ourselves, and it is totally related to happiness. Consciousness is all there is. And this is not only my statement, but also Tony Nader's, the neurologist, who, in his quest to understand the human being, found himself studying consciousness, deepened to the point that there is no doubt about the relationship between consciousness and happiness. Consciousness, even we not awakened, built and developed, is a human quality entirely at our disposal. If it is worked upon, it frees us to be being rebel builders of suffering, because it frees us from the misrepresented idea that happiness is something to be achieved through tremendous efforts to direct us to be obedient builders of unlimited happiness, keeping us faithful to ourselves by providing the opportunity to understand that happiness is the beginning of our existence and should not be considered as a target to be reached. This is because happiness leads us to self integration, to virtuosity, to essentiality. So, this is the only way we can find and be happy, in fact. To do that, we need to strive for a conscious life through education. We can do so through the practice of meditation, the study of consciousness based on the natural laws, and the understanding of self knowledge. Doing so, it will help us to live a mindful life, provide constant vigilance, and direct us to steady perception. This is very important because when we are attentive, we are able to observe happiness in everything. When we are vigilant, we are able to recognize it within ourselves. And finally, when we are perceptive enough, we tend to not to lose sight of it or even get lost of it. As previously said, happiness must be our north. This way, seeking always to awaken, build, and develop consciousness in human being and in society, there will be a tendency to move away from everything that is dispensable, everything that tries to move us away from the happiness we deserve so much. That's because consciousness is a resource for those who succeed in having fewer problems in their lives. And it is there and only there where happiness takes place, where suffering no longer exists. In a society, for instance, where consciousness is not yet fostered to a significant degree, there is no compliance with law, so there is no order. And if there is no order, there is only confusion, conflict, and chaos. Thus, how should there even be a possibility of living happily? There isn't. After all, happy living must be simultaneously dynamic and balanced, a deed that only consciousness provides. As long as we do understand this, we will continue with a distorted view of happiness, thinking, for example, that it is not something spiritual. In fact, happiness implies being what we are in essence, something that brings the desired peace as a result for us. This is not related to sensory pleasure, but to extrasensory pleasures, not to knowledge, but to self knowledge, not to merge virtue, but to virtues. Therefore, not to power, but to fullness. Knowing this, there is no point in continuing to feed society the illusion of incessant search and urgent encounter of happiness outside, where, in fact, it cannot and can never be found. In this sense, the research and professor of psychology and well-being, Todd Kashdan, warns us of the fact that as human beings succumb to social pressure for being happy at any cost and build their lives aimed first to become happy, they end up becoming less happy. This understand search give us indications of each failure on a daily basis, be it through stagnating discontent about the place where we are, the idea of perpetuation of pleasure, the lack of unsuspected unity between what we feel, think, and the way we act. We always keep looking at what is beyond here, believing that happiness is waiting for us somewhere ahead. It is a mistake. Happiness is not something findable, even if it only manifests itself where there is no chaos. Happiness is not in confusion, not in doubt, not in criticism, is not in revenge, not in suffering, is not in penance, nor will it ever be. Attentive, vigilant, and perceptive people can testify to this. Help, happiness is also not only in fun times, or rather during distraction. The less we have this real notion, the greater the chances we have to be unhappy. Unhappiness provokes chain reactions because this reverberates like chaos and does not guide anyone to fullness. Reflecting upon this perspective, we can bump into the idea that the solution to live happily is done through isolation, right? That is another mistake. Happiness is always shared, it overflows and it transcends all limits of coexistence that we can still cultivate. It is not the result of civility. It is not a product of the circumstances of life. It is not dispensable and has no shortcut. For Susie and James Powelski, writers of the book Happy Together, what leads us to good coexistence and happiness is the fact that we should not focus only on what goes wrong in relationships, but rather excel in creating the habit of balance. That is, being grateful for what goes well, which makes a lot of sense when we understand that happiness is not a means, but a principle can and should be used as a way of action for those who already want to be happy. To this end, it is necessary to develop consciousness. Just illiterate people goes through a book and do not understand it. Incomprehensive people live in direct contact with happiness but do not understand it, and tend to live a long cut to dispensable thing, thus originating and developing within themselves disappointment, pain, and suffering. Let us then awaken our consciousness to the point of being restless about happiness, or rather, let us be our own scientists of happiness. As Mark Williamson, leader of the Action for Happiness initiative, alludes. So, once and for all, we will find it, because for all the others beings, happiness is to exists. But for us, human beings, it is to be aware of the existence itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana. And you said a lot of things that's really connected to what we work in the Abayomi methodology, because the first thing is that we need to be conscious. So we work with citizens consciousness. And I think that this is the point, like you said, that it's very important to be aware of everything, and also with human relations. We need to observe and we need to treat the other persons that are related to us maybe in a different way, so we can not only be happy, but help others to be happier too. And a lot of things to connect. You give a lot of tips and information for everyone. And thank you very much. Let's move on to our next guest. And I think I'll go with Carola. Hello, Carola. Timarco, come here.
So first, I'd like to thank you so much for having me here tonight. I have been living in Florida for almost 10 years, but recently, me and my husband, we just moved to Italy. So now we live in, I would say, a quiet life here in the north of Italy. And I would say that we just move here to trying to find more happiness in our lives, because by the time that we were living in the US, we feeling a lot of pressure, because the way the American lives, it's much more like pressure, work. And this makes us a little bit frustrated, because when you're thinking what is the meaning of life, it's just enjoying life. Like the Italians say, la dolce vita, the sweet life. So this was the reason we decided to move here. From my professional experience, after then, I have been studying about 12 years self-development. So I became a therapist of Theta Healing. It's a technique that it's over 25 years right now, but a lot of people, they still do not know about this technique. Basically, it's a meditation that guides you to a theta frequency, and then there we can create and we can discreate in our subconscious mind a lot of our behaves, and there we can trying to help people to go over a lot of anxiety, a lot of all the traumas that the person has in life, and all this. So it's a very interesting work, because you can have a very quick results. If you go to like traditional techniques on therapy, it takes so long for you fix things, because as I study Theta Healing experience, when you go to your subconscious mind, it's more easy because we act 95% related about the things that we have in our subconscious mind. And then when you go straight to your subconscious mind, it's much more easy for you fix things, and you give a new meaning for everything that you have, all the traumas, like I said, in life. So to clarify a little bit more about all these, basically, most of my clients, they come to me and they have a lot of difficulty to understand that happiness is something so easy to have in life. It's something so simple to have in life, but they don't understand this. They think most of the times that during my sections, they have a bit difficult to understand that in order to have happiness, you have to be suffering, you have to have something that is like illusion, impossible. They think that happiness doesn't exist. Something so simple, so easy, but they think that doesn't exist. Because the thing is, for them, in order to be happy, they have to possess so many things in life, like fancy clothes, nice cars, a huge house, a lot of money that they can provide, very expensive vacations for their families and things like that. And then the reason why they think this way, and of course, not just my clients, all over, everybody all over the world, they think this way, is just because we are totally disconnected most of the time about our inner selves. When you have this disconnection, this happen to us, it's very difficult to understand the really meaning of happiness, because we create in our mind what a lot of people think, that happiness is having things, is possessing things. And this becomes more important than being a nice person, being something, some type of person that will be serving others. And then when you have this misunderstanding in mind, we realize that happiness is something that should come from inside out and not all the way around. And then when you have this clear vision that happiness comes from inside, everything starts to be so easy, because you think, when you see this, you just realize that the most important thing is inside you. If you are connected from things that are inside your heart, and then you see, you find happiness. And then this way, during my sections, we try to understand the reasons why this person is disconnected with their inner selves. And then, of course, I use the Theta Healing technique that goes straight to their subconscious mind. And then we investigate, like I said, and then we have, most of the times, we find a lot of traumas, a lot of patterns that they are carrying for so many years through the generations. And they even think that all these patterns that they are following through all those years, it's a problem in the current life. A lot of people, they don't have this idea that all the patterns that we are replicating all over the years in our lives, most of the time, this coming from our subconscious mind. The things that you see about our five senses, we are putting this all together inside our subconscious mind. I would say that our mind is like a black box from a plane. When the plane crashes down, and then you find the black box, and then there you find all the informations about the flight, what happened, what didn't happen, if it was the fault of the pilot or whatever. Our mind is the same. Our mind is like a black box. And then we have the conscious mind and subconscious mind. And then from the five senses, what we do? We are adding everything in our subconscious mind. All the time that we see something that gives I would say like it's like a shot, and then you feel that, and then you see you connected to something, and then you say, oh, and then you repeat the same thing in your life. I always like to make an example. For example, you have our mom, and then your mom is in the kitchen cooking, and then your mom is able to cook one type of the dish, and when she is preparing this dish, she stirs the pan like this, okay? And then the mom has the child, and then the child see this happening to the mom, the way the mom cooks, the way the mom stirs the pan and everything. And then when the kids grow up, they start to cook, they start to do the same thing like her mom. And then most of the times when you come and ask for your mom, Mom, why do you cook doing like this? And then the mom just says, oh, it's just because your grandma, she used to be doing things like that. And then you realize that you are repeating the patterns in your mind. And then you have the same action always and always and always. And then with this technique, you just put this pattern, and then you are able to see it. You are able to realize that you are repeating that thing because you saw it. You put everything in your black box. And then the happiness is the same thing, because they believe, they see a lot of people having, posting their things on social media, cars, luxurious things, and everybody's smiling, everybody's happy. And then they think, oh, for me, in order to be happy, I have to be like them. I have to possess everything. And then what happened? In our sections, what we do is we find out where all this came from. We investigate the subconscious mind, and we see the patterns, we see everything. And then we start the process to re-signify everything and reprogram their subconscious mind for the people. And then when you do this, I will provide a new habit forming for this person. And then a new perspective in life, like a magic, because they think, oh my God, it's like they have their glasses shut, and then after all they see, oh my God, I can see clear now. Because they started to realize that happiness is a state of mind. It's not something that is related from inside, like I said in the beginning. Of course, if they wish to have a lot of material possessed, and it's possible because of the laws of the universe, everything is possible for anyone. But we have to try our best every single day to find happiness in simple things, like having a nice meal with our families, go for a walk, be grateful and happy to have a house, to have a job, to have health. Because I always say to my clients, I say, if you are not happy with the current life that you have right now, probably nothing in life would be make you happy, even though you have $1 billion in your bank account. So this is my perspective of happiness.
Thank you, Carola. Thank you for your insights and your experience. And it's really connected with Juliana said about the consciousness and the relations with people and things and the connections with ourselves. And it's related to what we work in the Abayomi Academy too, that are connecting these different fields. So it's the person, the self-consciousness, and it starting relating to the other things. Interested at the beginning that you said that you moved from the US to Italy and to change the way of life. And this is one thing that we sometimes we talk about, and we guide people to choose where to live that is connected to what you like to do in life, and that it's connected to what your family like to live, the way that you like to live, because it's really different. I lived in different countries too. Thais, that we is gonna talk after you, she has also this experience of different ways of life, different cultures, different backgrounds, different experiences. And you talk about these experiences, that we bring from our family. And it's about that, be aware of who you are, where you are, and what you have. And happiness, it's not what you have, not what you have like in physical, and properties, but what you do with what you have. Even if you don't have a lot, but what you have, what you do with that. If you have people in your life, if you have a house, if you have a meal, as you said, be grateful. And this is the beginning of changing everything in your life, because everything is energy too. So the energy that you put in your life every day, that you wake up and say, oh, good morning, this will be a good day. So this, you're giving information to you see the things different. Like you said, sometimes you need to take the glass out, take the thing that blinds you, and see the life from a different perspective. Thank you very much for your sharing. Let's go to our next guest, Thais Conte.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Thais Conte. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. This is probably the more. I lived in more than 10 cities and more than 5 countries. My life was moving, and I had to choose to be happy where I was, even though sometimes I didn't like it, the place, because happiness should be always inside us, not in the place that we are. But of course, Carola, you said something really important. Here in the United States, the way of life, it's really busy, really crazy. And we have to take the car to do everything. I had the opportunity to live in Europe a long time ago. I lived in Amsterdam, and I like the way of life, of European way of life, where they value more human relations. They value traveling. They make things more simple. I used to take my bicycle to the train, and the train to my office, to work, and I felt great about it. It was one of the most important times of my life, and I want this to my life whenever I have the chance. I really wish to retire in Europe probably in South Europe because it's warmer and it's cheaper and the food is better. But nowadays, since I have small kids, even though I'm not that young, I do have small kids. And because of work, we still stuck here in the United States. I don't even like to say stuck because it seems like something bad, you know. I really like it here. I enjoy what the place has to offer, you know. And here, for example, in Georgia, I have the four seasons, no, and it's not too hot as Florida, and it's not too cold as Chicago or the North. When I was in Florida, I was also happy because I had the beach, and I love the beach, and I had like a lot of. We were like really close to other Latin people here in Georgia. We do have a lot of foreigners too, and Latin people too, but it's more like where I live. It's more like Americans and some Brazilians, you know. So as I said, even though this can make a big difference in our lives to be in a nice place, live in a nice city, not exactly with luxury or anything like that. Sometimes the simple is the best, like I did when I lived there. It can be a big difference, especially for our health. But I'm a truly believer that happiness should be inside us, you know. I say that because I moved a lot since a very young age because of my parents. People ask if my parents were like military or diplomat, and I said my parents were young and crazy. So that's why we moved a lot, and I was kind of mad at them, especially because I was really shy. But I guess God gives us everything that we need to develop ourselves. I was shy, and now I'm not shy anymore. I see myself as a natural networker because everywhere I go, I make friends. Everywhere I go, I connect. It's like a response that I developed along the years to be able to live, to be able to cope with everything and moving and make new friends. Because I was moving, I need to make new friends all the time. And nowadays, the things that were bad in the past for me that I didn't like very much, all this moving, nowadays is something that did good for me. I believe to be a better person, to have had this experience. So happiness is the way you choose to see life, is to find the good things and the bad things. Happiness is in the small things, as you guys said already. Small things as the sunset, as even the cold, sometimes the rain. Oh, it's raining. People sometimes get mad. I said, no, but I like the sound of the rain. I like the smell of the rain. So it's also in the small things. Happiness, we are not happy 100% of the time. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be disappointed. But it's not okay to think, to not recognize the beautiful moments that we live, you know, the moments where we enjoy with friends, having dinner, or just chatting or talking or laughing, or just go for a walk and enjoy the sun in your skin. This is happiness. This is happiness for me. And as human beings, we are here to connect. We need connection. We need to share our thoughts, share our feelings, our emotions. We are built to live in community. We're not built to live alone. So as I tell everyone, just don't be afraid. You're not alone. Everyone have this feeling, or now or had before, you know. So you gotta do if you have to do the first move, do the first move. What's the first move? I don't know. Maybe you go to a park, maybe you go to a church, maybe you go to a meeting. If someone invites you, if no one invites you, you can invite someone to your house, no, or to the park, or reach someone to talk, to get to know someone, because the process of moving, it's hard, it's lonely, but doesn't have to be this way, because you have the option to connect again. You have the option we are smart enough to start over and over again. Of course, it's not easy. It doesn't get easier. You just know what to do. The only thing that gets easier is that you know how to do. The feeling of starting is overwhelming always, because I started so many times. I lived after I got married. My husband, who had never moved ever, he was living in the same house for more than 30 years. He did travel for his job and also to study English in the United States for 2 months. For me, this is not moving, it's just something temporary. But he lived in the same house. And after we got married, I was already living in São Paulo for about 10 years, where I finished, I did college. And after we got married, 1 year after that, we started moving. And I said, oh, come on. This is not my family. It's me. It's my karma. I just happened to happen to me, because he never moved and he married me. We start moving and we went to the Netherlands. And after that, we had to move back before the time, because we were supposed to be there for 2 or 3 years. But my husband, the company he was working at, ABN AMRO Bank, the bank was bought by Santander, so everyone, all the expatriates, has to go back to Brazil or to their countries. We went back to Brazil. I had to find another job. Actually, I did find another job when I was in the Netherlands. I already had a job there. I'm really fast, because I was not. You say, oh, it's easy for you. You were always like that. No, I wasn't like that. I just learned to be like that. I just learned that I have to take action. I just learned that I have to do this in order to survive. So we do things in order to survive. I can stay home and cry. I can stay home, say that I don't have a job, that I don't have friends, or I can take the first step and go ahead and move. And I didn't know anyone in the Netherlands by the time. I don't speak Dutch, but I did, of course, speak English, and I had a working visa, whatever. I have an Italian passport. Also, that's why I like Italy so much. But before I got there, I was researching in websites jobs, even before I arrived there. So when I arrived there, it made things much easier. I took the bus. I didn't know where I was going. I just did it. And at that time, like 15 years ago, we didn't have all this internet, all the maps and the ways and internet that we have now. Now it's easy. At my time, we had maps, we have the big map. We have to open and take with us, or take a print, or make a copy, or draw something and write notes, so we wouldn't get lost. So going back to the moving, okay, after that we went back to Brazil. We stayed there for a while. I had my daughter. I worked. I had a job there. I was happy, living the life of my dream, like living in a nice apartment, nice neighborhood, nice job. But then my husband was offered to move again, and then this time was to Peru, to Colombia. And I never thought I would live in Colombia. I never dreamed about living in Colombia, actually. But we accept the challenge, and I did this for him and for my daughter, for the opportunity to live in to have an opportunity to study in an international school. And we do this once you have kids, you do a lot for your kids, for opportunities so they can have a better life. Patricia, probably one of the reasons why she is in the United States, probably is because of her kids, to study English and to learn to have better education. So we do a lot for our kids. Because I was happy in Brazil. And Colombia? Well, it's not the United States, it's not Europe, but okay, let's go. So we did live there for 2 years. And then when I was pregnant, for my second child, we moved to Peru. And then once again, I had to start over and make new friends and find a new job. And I do any kind of job that I have to do in order to not only to have money, but to keep my mind busy. So I used to teach Portuguese and Spanish, Portuguese to Spanish speakers, and also English. And I did work in a few companies, with all this moving. But I always find something to do it, because I believe we should be open to different things. When I lived in the Netherlands, I was, okay, maybe I will have the chance to work as a hostess at, what's the name of the place that I like? Hard Rock Cafe, because I really love Hard Rock Cafe. I said, I don't mind being a hostess there, or I don't mind being a waitress. I didn't mind that, but luckily, because of my English, I could find an office job, a nice office job. But the point here is to say that doesn't matter what kind of job did you have, you have the opportunities are there, for everyone, and you can choose. Actually, most of the time you can choose. Of course, depends if you have to feed your kids or not. But also sometimes we work harder, but we don't have time for kids. Sometimes we work harder and it's bad for our health. So we should also always try to balance and to see, can I live with less? Maybe I can live with less, because people here, for example, they make a lot of money, but the thing is they get addicted to the money that they make. And then it's really hard to take a step back and find some other kind of job where they can have more life quality. I guess I'll just say again that happiness should live inside us. And right now I work as a event organizing. I have a company, it's called Be Bright, and we're organizing a Brazilian expo here in Atlanta. It's the biggest one they ever had. It's really scary. We did some small ones, but this one is going to be big, so it's kind of scary because it's a lot of responsibility. But at the same time, it gives me a lot of happiness to be able to help the Brazilian community, to help them to connect to each other, to help them develop, because most of our expositors, they are small business, and help them to do business with each other. So because of that, the girl was really shy when she was young. Now I believe that I am a really natural networker, more than a professional one, because it's not like I studied to be a networker. I just am a networker, but it's like more natural because I have the need to connect. And we as human beings, we need human relations. And human relations for me is the base of happiness.
Thank you, Thais. Thank you for sharing your life experience. It's really amazing. And I am connected to that because I also moved a lot and have the same feeling that when we move, we start over again and we start over again. But like you said, we need to see the good things of the place where we are and see what we can do to change what we don't like. It's a little connected with Carola and Juliana thoughts too. What do I need to be happy, and how can I be happy where I am in this life situation? And we can always change. The only thing that we cannot change is death, they say, no? So we can change. And if we can count on our friends, our families, and, new network, new human relations, we should go forward now looking for those other people. And so this experience that you all are sharing here, I think that it's really inspiring to our audience, because in some point, everyone will be connected to something that you see. So even if it's for I need to look more for myself, I need to look more inside to get to know me better. I need to get to know more people that live with me, that work with me. So my friends, sometimes we don't know. Even people that lives with us, sometimes we don't know. So do you know what it's the special food that your kids like, or that your husband, your wife, your brothers, your roommate, do you know what could make their day special just for one thing? And then before we close, I would like to go and say, let's give a tip, or at least one tip, so people can start changing their lives today after this talk, and say, you can do one thing at least to start changing, to be happier person, or to help others be happy too. So I would go saying that look for choose at least 5 people in your life that you are related, that you love, and try to find one thing that would make their day different. It's just sending a message saying, hello, I remember you today, I love you, and I would like to talk to you, to meet you someday. It's bringing them a rose, a flower. It's just say, look, stop your work now. We don't need to work now, and we are going to have a big ice cream for the day. So it's just one thing for 5 people. We can start changing, and we can do for ourselves too. So what you can do for you today to say, no, today I'm going to change my day for just doing that. You can invite me for a 5-scoop ice cream in a big jar, and I will be happy. So a cup of coffee too. So, and let's see, Thais, you were the last one, so you can start. What tip can you say? You said a lot of things, all of you, but just to finish and conclude our talk, what would you like to leave as a tip?
Okay, what I would say, forget at this time, don't think about material things, okay? Don't think about that, because this is important for us. Of course it is, but doesn't bring us, this is not real happiness. So forget about this. After you forget about this, what is important to you? Ask yourself a question. What is important to me? What is important to me is to be close to my family, is to have a more balanced life, is to have time for myself. What's important to me? So ask yourself, what's important to you? And the other thing I would say one more thing, as she was saying about, you were saying, Patricia, about calling people and everything. I would say we should pay it forward, move the energy. So pay it forward. Pay it forward, I mean, do something for someone else. Give your hand to someone else who needs, give a call to someone that doesn't have any friend. Be nice to someone today, or 1 or 2 people today, and this will grow. If people should learn to do that, pay it forward, because good things will come back to you. I have no doubt about it.
Thank you for your tips, and thank you for being here. Juliana, can you give us some more tips?
Yes, I can. In fact, are 3 tips. The first one is practice meditation. Today, not tomorrow, today, a minute. It is important to understand what we are. The second tip is to pay attention on the nature, and to understand that what occurs inside of you when you look to the flower, to the cloud, to the sky, to other human being, because what brings on this moment, it is what you really feel, and your feelings are your consciousness. So it is very important to do that. And the third tip, it is pay attention to your relationship between you and everybody. Someone that you really know and someone that you don't know, because all the relationships will bring you something to understand more and more what you really are again, because it is self-knowledge, and only that.
Thank you. Thank you for the 3 tips. I think that everybody has homework to do today. And now, Carola, with your homework.
Okay, so my homework is something very simple that I always recommend for my clients, that to create a notebook of gratitude, because most of the times we are so connected in all the bad things that happen in our lives, and we just forget the things that it's every day in our lives. But the way we are so connected to having more, being like somebody else, we just forget to thank every single day, to be grateful, to having, like I said, to have a house, to have health, to have our families, to have our jobs. So today, from now on, get a time in your day, get a notebook, and start to write every single day at least 5 things that you are grateful for. I can assure that this can completely change your life, because this completely changed my life. That I was so focused in the bad things, and then in the beginning could be sound a little bit fake, because you say, oh, I would like to have more. But after you keep doing every single day, you realize that most of the time you have more than you think. So this is my tip.
Thank you, Carola. And this is interesting because we just launched a book that it's in Portuguese, and next month should be launched in English. That is Gratitude Drops. And it's a diary of gratitude. It's a guided diary, because some people say, I don't know what can I be grateful for. And the idea is to help people to do that notebook of gratitude, because this can really change our lives. So I would like to thank you one more time for this amazing conversation, and we would like to stay here longer, but I hope that this is the first one and that everybody enjoy this talk. Thank you very much, Carola, Juliana, Thais, for your participation here.